This is Knitting in My Closet. This is episode 5. And as you can see, I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it was 26 degrees last night and it was very cold in here when I woke up. And I also have a cold. My husband is a veterinary oncology technician, so he works in a vet's office, and he's the only male who works in this particular office, and so he's constantly bringing home all these colds and illnesses and stuff that the ladies' children pick up in their respective schools. And so this is actually the first one of this season, so okay. And sometimes I catch them, sometimes I don't, but this time, yeah. So I've got a bit of a sore throat and I'm a little congested. And so today, I should let you know, today's coffee is actually, wait a minute, what? Okay, I'm sorry, my phone was telling me something and I couldn't read it, even with my glasses on. Anyway, today's coffee is pumpkin spice because, everyone should drink pumpkin spice this time of year. And I put a little too much coconut sugar in it today, so it's a little too sweet. But at least it isn't taking the enamel off my teeth by drinking my husband's coffee, which has no flavor. It just tastes like insecticide. It's gross. Okay, so we have many, many things. And I realized in the last video that I kept leaning forward and showing you the top of my head. So I'm going to try not to do that this time. And I think the lighting is a bit better. I've got my own version of a lighting hookup in here. I do have some studio lights. They're not great, but because of the space that I'm sitting in, it's difficult to set anything up. And so what I've got I've got this light that's sitting, I don't know, 2 feet from my face, but it was like blinding me. So here's my setup. So it's not quite blinding me, but it did diffuse the light from above a bit. So yeah, it's a bit better. Okay, so today is November 1st, and I know I said I was going to do 2 episodes last week, but I could not because I had an absolutely dreadful week. My job it's not the worst job I've ever had, but it's up there. They do everything very publicly, so I've been berated for leaving an S off of the phrase Indigenous peoples, even though I didn't do it. I was just copying the title of an organization and putting it in another document, so I just copied and pasted, and I got berated for that very publicly. And then there's another woman who, we all work remotely. It's a human rights organization. It's an NGO. But we are all over the country, and so we work remotely, and so they use this platform online to communicate, and so it's very public, and everybody sees what everybody else is writing. And so they gave me the training on how to set up these meetings that I have to do 2 to 3 times a week, and I hadn't had to do them up until this week. I had been working on something else, and so they gave me the training over the course of an hour on the first day, and I simply could not remember how to do it. So this was day before yesterday. I was trying to figure it out, and then I had to ask some questions of somebody else, and she made sure to let myself and everyone else know that she thought I was stupid, and that I should know these things. And it was humiliating, and it was, pretty awful. And I didn't realize when I took the job that, see, had always been my dream job. I worked really hard. I actually annoyed people to death until they gave me a job, because I wanted to work in human rights, and I thought that this was perfect for me. And it's only part-time, but I thought, I could work up into a full-time position there, and or then move on to the UN or something like that. But I have definitely been cured of that idea, because my husband has worked for NGOs before, but I hadn't, and I didn't know that this would happen. But apparently, because they get paid so little, including myself, because it's mostly funded by the members. There's sometimes membership dues and sometimes not, and there's also like donations and stuff like that, and sometimes you can get a grant. And my particular position is because of a grant. And so because they get paid so little, there's a huge political power dynamic going on, and so everyone has to kind of what would you call it exactly? They kind of blatantly use the fact that they have power against you. So somebody's been there longer than me, and they're not part-time, they have more power, and so they make sure that everybody knows that they're better than me. And not to mention the fact that I had no idea this would happen either, but I'm the only white person that works there. Everybody else is of color, which, it didn't occur to me when I took the job, and not that it matters, or it wouldn't matter in regular life, but at this particular NGO, they kind of have the attitude that they are better than me, because I couldn't possibly know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a human rights violation, which is not true. A, I'm a woman. B, I'm an older woman. And C, I grew up in an inner city ghetto in Los Angeles. And so I know exactly what it's like. I have brothers and sisters who've been through things and that I would not want anyone to go through because of, a race issue. And it was really disheartening to learn that they didn't think that I could understand anything about human rights, even though I have 4 advanced degrees in the subject. I have 2 master's degrees in different aspects of human rights. I have a JD and I have an LLM, and if you don't know what an LLM is, that's Master of Legal Letters. It's in Latin though, so it's a master's in law. And so my main issue right now that I'm working on is human rights and the environment. And so, I know exactly. I have been, I was in the military and something bad happened that was definitely a human rights violation. And I have issues from it. And it was just it was unfortunate to learn that. Anyway, so my job has not been fun this week. And then I was supposed to have Wednesday and Friday off because I had worked a full 8 hours on Monday. And then I worked almost 8 hours on Tuesday. So I was supposed to have Wednesday off because I can only work 20 hours a week. And then they kept calling me and wanting me to do things, and so I ended up working part of Wednesday, and then I was supposed to leave early on Thursday to make up for that, but I didn't, and so now I basically volunteered for several hours that I'm not getting paid for. And I have today off, which I'm really happy about, but then the 2 people who are above me also had the day off, so I wouldn't have had any work to do anyway, except for some smaller projects that it wouldn't have taken me 4 hours to do. So, so yeah, my job's been horrendous. And what else? Oh, of course, the cold hasn't helped. And I think I might have told you early on that one of our cats has gone blind. And recently, the last couple of days, I realized he can't even see shadows anymore. So it's really sad. But he's super smart. And so he has figured everything out. The only thing he hasn't is, he's so cute. When I come in, okay, I go out and I feed them in the morning, and then I come back into the bedroom, and I usually go back to sleep because I have very bad insomnia. So, plus my husband woke me up many times last night because he's a thrasher at night, and so usually I come back in and I sleep for a couple hours. Then I get up around 8. We get up at 5:30 because that's when my husband wakes up to go to work. And so what he does is, after I give them breakfast and I have to do a bunch of other things in the morning, he comes in, he knows where the door is to the bedroom. So he sits and he waits and then so he can come in here with me. Now he can get down this little hall, but to put him on the bed, I have to pick him up and put him on the bed. And he can get off the bed now. He wasn't able to before. He was too scared. But if there's anything on the floor, he gets trapped because he can't figure out what he's stepping on. So he was having a little bit of trouble this morning, and that's been bothering me because I feel really bad for him. But he's such a sweetie. And then we have a cat who's elderly, and she has become incontinent, and so we're shampooing the carpets all the time, and it's gotten a little bit worse the last couple of days. So it's been a dreadful week. And then yesterday, I had to go grocery shopping because we were out of everything. People were a bit rude in the grocery store, and I ended up having to unload my basket really fast, and that made my back hurt. And then by the time I got to the car with the shopping cart, my hips hurt too. And so I was having a hard time, and I was on the verge of tears. I got home, and I could only get a little bit of the groceries upstairs because it hurt so bad. So I asked my husband to call me when he got home, and I would come downstairs, and we could both bring some stuff up. And so we're bringing stuff up, and he's already made it to the door and come back down the stairs, and he's going to get some more. But I've got 2 bags and a plant, and the bags are exceptionally heavy. I don't know what I was thinking when I loaded them, but I was having a hard time, and my hip really, really hurt. So he said, let me take them. And then he takes the lightest thing out of my hand. And so my equilibrium got off, and I ended up dropping the other 2 bags that I was holding. And so he said, okay, let me take those. And he was holding the thing that he had taken out of my hand was a 12-pack of seltzer cans. And so he's trying to pick up the other things, and he dropped it slipped out of his hand and landed on my foot. So that was the last straw, and I lost it. I just started crying. I don't know if I can show you this, but see that? Now I've got a big bruise. So it's been a terrible, terrible, terrible week. I did, however, manage to do some shopping early yesterday for the swaps. I am involved in 3 Christmas swaps, and I've taken on an extra swapper for one of them. So I'm not going to show you any of that stuff, but I did get some really cool stuff. And so I told you this last time, that I've got a swap partner in England and one in Switzerland. And then for my Ravelry group, follows my favorite. We're doing an Advent swap, and so I didn't want anybody to have to send overseas because we had a little bit of an issue last time with where somebody thought it was going to cost them $120 to send their swap, and I didn't want that to happen. And so if there's extra charges, I would rather absorb that. And since we only have one person overseas that's participating, I took her on, and she's in Germany. And then the extra one is in... I want to say California. I don't remember. But otherwise it was going to be uneven, and it was going to be too complicated to figure out who was going to do it in a round robin so that everybody would be able to participate. So, yeah, so I bought a lot of... I didn't buy anything for me, and I bought my husband a couple of Christmas presents. I'll show you because he doesn't watch this anyway. One of them is this t-shirt. I always buy him new t-shirts every Christmas because we started it 8 years ago when we first met, that I started buying him these different t-shirts, that because he had one that said sarcastic comment. Oh no, I bought him that one. He had one that said, I have multiple personalities and none of them like you. And so I started buying him t-shirts that were like that. And he wears them a lot, so they get raggedy after a while. So every Christmas I buy him some new ones. And so that's one of them. And I forgot to bring it in here again. Dang it. Okay, let's just move on to... Let's do finished objects. Do I have any? I have one. And it was unsuccessful. I think I only have one. I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to look at the ground constantly. No, that's not it. No. Okay. I actually have 2 finished objects. Darn it. I should go and get it. All right. I'll be right back. All right, so let's start with this one. This one is the current shawl. I did finish it. Okay, that's the front, yeah. And, you know, beautiful, right? Except for it's really, really tiny. This is supposedly the large. This is not large. This is very, very small. And I'm unhappy for a couple of reasons. One is that I don't like small shawls. I like them to be big and cozy. And this, okay, it's a crescent-shaped shawl, and the way that it was started has left this weird hump here. So if you try and stretch it out, see what you get? And it's because it's like actually like a mountain. And I hate that. So as you can see, I also haven't woven in the ends because I don't know what I'm going to do. I've never done this kind of edge before, which is a, what did they call it? I-cord? I-cord bind off. And I love the way that came out. That was, you know, wonderful. It's really, really nice. And I absolutely love the combination of yarns. See how it's very heathered? The problem is that this is just too small, and I hate that hump. So I've got, I mean, look at that. It's so tiny. I've got 3 options, and please comment below and let me know what you would do. I can give it away, or I can take the I-cord binding off and I can continue and just make it bigger. I'm going to have to order some yarn because I don't have enough yarn of the green wool to make it bigger. Well, a little bit bigger, but not as big as I would need it to be. And that's fine. It's from Knit Picks, so it's not that expensive. I can do that. But if I do that, then I'm buying yarn that is not, I'm buying wool that is not ethically sourced. And then I could take the whole thing out and make something else out of the yarn. I really hate this hump. I hate it. I love the pattern, the currents. It's supposed to remind you of the ocean, and I do love that. But as a whole, I hate this shawl. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Please let me know what you would do. God, look at that. It's just so little. It's most definitely not the large. And then this was also unsuccessful. I finished one of the, I'll put the pattern right here, for the men's, what was it called? Awesome Men's Moccasin. It's a crocheted pattern, and I thought it would be good because my husband just adores slippers, and so I get him a couple pair every year. And he was ordering them off of Amazon, but it was like very hit and miss. He got this one pair that said they were in the right size, but they were too short, and some of them are just too stiff and they never loosen up. And so I thought I would just, make some. Now, the first try for this particular moccasin, what you do is you make the, I'm not weaving these in because I am not going to continue with this. Anyway, this is the bottom, and what you're supposed to do is make this bottom, and then you add on the sides, and then the top. However, the first one, I followed the pattern, and honest to God, it was like a snowshoe. It was huge. And so I took that out, and I started again, and I went down 2 sizes of crochet needle, or hook, and I made it a little bit shorter too, I think. And so I finished this, one of them. Well, it's not finished because it's not woven in, and it has an edging thing. But I decided to try it on his foot, so I told him he had to close his eyes. And so I went to try it on, and I was thinking, wow, this is really weird because this is so big in the back. But, I followed the pattern, and I thought, okay, he has big feet. So I put it on him. The bottom is about 1 inch too narrow, and the length is about 3 inches too long. So, yeah, I don't like it was very easy to make. And I had already started on the second one when I was able to try it on his foot. But this has not been a success, so I can take it out, but it has several places where I've attached things, and so I might just, it's cheap acrylic that I bought at Michael's. I think it's, what is that, Lion brand. So I think I'm just going to throw that away. But once again, I don't know if I want to start it again. So I can give away that pattern because I won't use it again, because I've already tried it twice and it's just not working out. I found a better one that I like. It's knitted instead of crocheted, and I've been crocheting since I was 6, so crochet is, part of my life. And it's not that I don't like crochet, it's just that I don't think it's very good for garments. It's good for like scarves or blankets, things like that, but I don't think it's very good for garments. So yeah, I'm gonna throw this one out. I'm going to put this yarn to use as something else. And I will put right here the new pattern that I just got. Now, as you know, part of my rules is that are that I can buy new things if they're as gifts for somebody else. And so this pattern is for my husband, and it's for some slippers, and it's I think they called it, is it thrumming, where they make, where the inside is all loopy and so it's all squishy. So yeah, I'm gonna make those for him instead, and those are knitted, and so we'll try that and see how that goes. So yeah, works, finished projects have not gone well. I have done a little bit on the toffee sweater. I'll put the pattern right there, the picture right there. I did pick up and start working on the sweater, on the last sleeve. Now, I really think this is going to be a beautiful sweater when it's ready, but you know how everybody knits at a slightly different tension, and the gauge, of course, is very helpful if you do a swatch and all that, but when you change from one size needle to another, it's not necessarily going to work out the way they say it is. So I've had to adjust. This is the fourth sleeve attempt. The first two, what was wrong with the first one? I can't remember what was wrong with the first one, but the second one, even though I changed needle sizes, you're supposed to, when you do this ribbing, you're supposed to go to a slightly bigger needle, from a 6 to a 7, and then you go back down to a 6 for this stockinette. Okay, well, even though I did that, it's still, the sleeve still went like this. And so that was bad. And I didn't notice it. I hadn't stopped to look at it until I got to the end. And so I ended up taking out the entire sleeve. Now the other sleeve did not do that. It's fine. Totally fine. So this sleeve, for some reason, is giving me fits. And so the third time I took it out because it had started to do that again. And so I'm watching it very carefully while I'm doing it. And you're also supposed to decrease your stitches when you go down to this one, because you're making this sleeve narrower as it goes down. So I took a couple extra to make it a little bit smaller in that section. So it's working out fine so far. And oh, I should go, well, I'll come back to I got another new acquisition that was sent to me by somebody very, very kind. But let's see. I also, today is the first day of the stitch along on my cross stitch group. It's called It's Stitching Time, and we are doing the winter hair in rose hips. And I did some last night because I was just having a crappy day and my foot was killing me, and so I wanted to sit in the bedroom and just do some cross stitch by myself. So I started working on it, and I got that much done. That's basically the front of his little face. I actually had wanted to start it earlier in the week, but I realized that this color right here, this is hazelnut brown. They called it, the DMC was, the thread number is 869. When I went to the store, I bought 968, which unfortunately is green. So he was either going to be green, or I was going to have to go and buy some more. So I had to go and buy a new thing yesterday. And yeah, so it's coming out pretty well. This is the first time I've ever done a 1/2. So it's laying very flat and kind of beautiful. I like it. So that's going well. Now I'm going to a couple, was it 2 episodes ago, I ran this giveaway for these, and this pattern for the felted clogs, and Kim Bryan one. She was the only one that gave a comment on that episode. The only thing is that she has not contacted me, so I will give her one more chance. And if she doesn't contact me before the next episode, then I will put it up for another giveaway again. Also, should I? Okay, let's put the awesome men's moccasins here, and maybe in the comments below, if you want to win this, in the comments below, just say, tell me about a pattern that you have had been unsuccessful with, and how many tries you gave it. So, yeah. So if you want this, that's fine. I don't mind passing it on to you, and maybe you'll have better success. Everybody knits and crochets differently, so you know. And also, everybody has a certain number of tries that they're willing to make. For that thing, 2 was enough. And like for this sweater, it's been a freaking nightmare. Some parts have gone really well, some have not. So, I feel like I'm forgetting something. What is that? Nope, that's not anything. Okay, so news on the closet. I did give away 2 boxes of big boxes of fabric that I no longer wanted, and actually some of it I didn't actually even sort of order it. What happened is I used to buy oops, sorry about that, I just kicked it. I used to buy these fabric grab bags or mystery boxes, I guess you'd call them, or something, from fabric.com, and sometimes the stuff would be great. Most of the time it was just awful. And so, I mean, really thick, like double knit polyester, and these big flowers, very, very colorful, that I wouldn't wear. And even if I would wear them, it would have to be a leisure kind of thing, not for work, because they're just too loud. And, you know, very, very sparkly fabrics, or very rough, horrible fabrics. And yeah, so I just took them, I boxed them up and took them to Value Village, and gave them to them, so they will sell them and make some money for their cause. Yeah, let's see. And then when I did the Halloween swap, what is that? Oh, the Halloween swap or fall swap on my Ravelry group, one of the ladies asked, well, she didn't ask for the Halloween one, she did ask for the Christmas swap, if someone would be willing to exchange with her mother as well, because her mother was going through a really tough period and had left her home and had just had surgery. And so, of course, we'll do that. And so I thought it would be really nice to also include her in the Halloween one, so I sent her a box of fun stuff. That she's not a knitter, but I sent her some books and some coffee and some cookies and just some goofy stuff that I thought she might like. And so very kindly, the lady, her daughter, the lady who asked me if we could do that, sent me something, even though I told her she didn't need to. It was just so generous of her, so kind. And she sent me this Jimmy Beans, I think. Is it Jimmy Beans? I don't know. It's Jimmy's Knit Club. And it was she sent me the one of the months. I don't know what month it was. Unfortunately, it doesn't say on here. It's for the prismatic poncho, and that's what it looks like from the front. And this is from the back. I don't think that it was done up very well, but so she sent me, it comes with a little pattern on postcards, and then it also came with all the little yarns. And there's 3 bags of them. And they are absolutely amazing. I mean, some of these colors are just truly wonderful. Look at that. And, I mean, I love the way that it's all heathered. And this is a cotton and acrylic blend, so this is ethically sourced, you know, as much as acrylic can be. And, I mean, they're just stunning. I love them so much. The only thing is I'm not a poncho person. So I am going to use them for a different project. But if somebody wants this pattern, I am happy to give it to you. It's on these little postcards. The whole pattern is on it. And so in the comments below, what should you do? Oh, tell me if you, what kind of yarn clubs you belong to, if any. If you don't, just say I don't belong to one, and you'll still be entered, and I will send this along. It's really big, and it looks really cozy and comfy. I'm just not a poncho person. But I absolutely adore the little yarns, and I'm definitely going to make something, but probably not until the new year. And thank you so much for sending me those. That is amazingly kind. And yeah, I was so excited that day. And yeah, so that's that. And let's see. Oh, right. It also came with this little book to put all your little nitty things in. So that is it for today. So there are 2 giveaways. I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you something. Not sure what. It's starting to get a little hot in here, and I don't know if that's because I've just got too many clothes on now. But yeah, so this week was not a successful or happy week. And let's see, you can find me if you want to join in some of we're going to have a bunch of other swaps throughout the year next year. The Advent calendar swap is the last one of this year, so and the partners went out today, so that one you can't join in on. But if you are a cross stitcher and you want to join in on a cross stitch swap or a stitch along, you can still go over to It's Stitching Time and on Ravelry, and we do have a little swap that's going to go on there. It's going to be a small swap, and there's not going to be a lot of postage involved, and so far we've only got 2 people signed up, so you can sign up for that one. And also let's see, next year we're going to have, well, as we get closer to the end of the year, we'll talk about those. So yeah, so I guess that's it for today, and I will see you next time. I hope you're having a great stitchy week, and yeah, one of these days I'll actually get out of my closet, but I don't think it's going to be soon. So have a great day, have a great weekend. Bye.